It's Nancy welcoming you to Garden Scroll. It's been a while since we visited, but I wanted to put on just at least one last post for this year because it's Christmas season. I love Christmas. I hope you love Christmas too, and I hope you're blessed, and I hope if any of the sad things have happened in your life on Christmas Day that you'll be able to know that God has that all in His hands, and He still loves and cares for you. And also I just wanted to show you a few clips that I have of the last parts of the garden. I didn't get a lot, I don't think. I have to look back through them, but I hope you enjoy them. Today is October the 25th, and fall is still trying to come to the garden. We've had some warm weather, but tonight is supposed to be another cold front, and we have had a little bit of cold weather too, but not very much. But I'm ready for that cooler weather and even getting ready for Christmas before too long. And I'm thinking that this will be the last year, at least for a while, that I kind of make this into tiers. As you know, I just go ahead and pile them up on top of each other. And I like that look. I like that look to be all lush and full and beautiful, but I'm going to try to cut back a little, and I think I'm going to like that too because I'll be able to see some of these better. They won't be covered up so much, and I'm going to try to make it a little easier on myself. And I do have some of most everything inside this little plant. I do have some of it. I may go ahead and get this little piece too before it's over though, because this won't live outside, and it may live in a glass in the window and then give me another chance. This one did actually. This is from a little clipping that I kept in the window, and it grew and became a little beauty there. So hopefully that will happen again. But I am so bad with the succulents. Look at this, and this was such a beauty when it started out, and now it's not going to make it. And then there's several that are totally already gone too. So I don't know what I do, but I guess I'll keep trying, but I need to do something different. But I am happy to see fall coming and then winter following, because I'm ready for a break, ready for a rest always at the end of summer, and just ready for that cooler weather and to stop fighting the heat. I do, however, still need to bring in a few things like this little pineapple lily. I want to be able to try that again next year. It is good to see the mums, and I don't think our weather is supposed to go down past freezing, at least not for another week. Hopefully it'll last even longer, and all of the mums will be able to open up. You can see these are just now swelling their buds, but they're not open into flower yet. So I'm hoping to get to see all of the pretty mums. Still have some of the impatiens left, and that's great. The 2 cold days and nights mostly that we had, I was so afraid we would lose all the coleus, but we didn't, so I've actually still been able to enjoy it. And here's some more of the pretty mums. The grasses didn't really look that good this year. Usually I can get this when it's got some of the gold and some of the green. It's just bright and beautiful, but I think it maybe has just been too dry. Everything has been so dry. We had no rain in October to speak of. I think we may have had a little shower type thing that didn't even get any in the rain gauge. And here's another mum that is just beginning to open up. It hasn't opened all the way yet, but you can tell that they're more than just swollen. They've busted out right at the tops. Here's one that opened up its flower. And I did spray for those, I guess they're called cucumber beetles. And you know I call them unlady bugs because they're green with the black dots and they just eat up the bloom. So I will have to spray again, I'm sure of it, because I've seen not nearly as many as I did see, but I've seen a few, and you know if there's a few, actually there's one right there. I don't know if I can get it for you. Let me see if I can. Actually, just in case it flew, I just went ahead and squashed it because I don't want to let any of these live knowingly. But when I first started learning about those little bugs, I realized that what they say is if you have one, you have a problem. So I still have a problem with those. But I will try to spray those again next week sometime. And this little coleus is one of my favorites. These stems are so thin, I'm quite sure they would just go ahead and rot, or I would take these in too. But I did take the top one that was right here off because it had a bigger stem and hopefully a better chance to save it through the winter. And I'm so disappointed with my little blue spruce. It lost all of its needles. You can see them down there underneath the tree where they all fell off, and this looks really bad, but I did go ahead and trim off of the little stem or trunk part of it, and when I did, they were not brittle, so there may still be some life in here. I'm hoping it, actually I'm praying for it. So I hope it will still become a beautiful little blue spruce, but I know that the chances are it may not too. Certainly not looking good. And this little ruffled henna coleus is another of my favorites. I hope you can see this pretty pink cotton candy grass right here. Sometimes the sun has to be shining on it just right for it to really light up. I really like it. Got some fall color in the crepe myrtle leaves. And I just thought I better go ahead and show it to you because it won't be long, even if we get a few more weeks before it all turns. It won't be long till it's all gone. This is a hosta, and it will be back next year most likely. Although this little plant has come back for many years, and it's not going to come back this time, I don't think. I think it's totally gone. I hope I'm wrong, but I really don't think I am. But I am thinking that next year, everything except under the weeping willow and the place in the front where I have some of the coleuses, and I'll have impatiens and probably petunias, and hopefully I'll have some trailing vinca or periwinkle, and maybe even some of the upright periwinkle in those places. Now out here, I don't think I'm going to plan on bringing the hoses out here, but maybe twice a week, and just using the others where they'll have to be done each day, I'm sure. I absolutely love this little trailing coleus right here, and this one's called Strawberry Drop, and it's just such a little beauty and usually just keeps going and going and going. And this little pot has some of the trailing vinca I wanted to show you, because I hope to have some of this because it's still doing well even this late in the season, and I love that. That's a good sign that it's going to keep on doing well in Oklahoma. And I like the sweet potato vine too, both the dark and the light. And I totally enjoy the Gomphrena globe flowers too. This is the pretty bright red, and then I have them in several different colors too, so I'm gonna try to save seed from these and hopefully have more of those where they'll fill out areas that are kind of sparse this year. And I may have to move some of my pots because I'm still thinking that I want to get the sedums started in these pots, because I do pretty well with sedum and they don't have to be watered every day. Now this is Artemisia, cascading Artemisia, and I love it. So I will try to put it somewhere where it'll be easy to water it probably. I don't know, it may not need watering that often either, but I'll keep an eye on that and see if I need to move it. I also love this little yellow marigold. They're the small size, and I think they would look good in pots. I'm not sure if I will put them in very many though, really, for the same reason they will need to be watered, but I'm going to save some just in case for seed. And my pots of mums are looking good right now. I hope they will continue to look good and just fill totally out. As you can see, not all of them have opened up their little buds yet, so I'm hoping that will happen and they will just be even more beautiful. But they're definitely bringing some color to the garden, even like this. And I have a few roses. And this little pot has some more of the cascading Artemisia, and this is actually also a Strawberry Drop, but it's turned dark, but it still has the beautiful trailing habit, and I just love it. I'll probably see if I can come out. Some of this looks like it may be a thicker stem than the ones I have, and I may go ahead and see if I can get some of that and bring it in. And I also noticed that it also has some with seed, so I'll try to save some of that. And this is the pretty Copper King coleus, so hopefully we'll have some more of it in the garden too. This little ruffled coleus is so pretty, and it's also putting on some seed for me. And this is some of the tall vinca, or at least it's not trailing, it stands upright. And this is some more of that pretty ruffled green with pink coleus. I also love this bright blue, Victorian blue salvia. It's an annual, but it will probably put on some seed that I will have to go ahead and put some to start again next year. And this little sedum has done well. When I first started, it was up in the top, and I had a hard time getting it in these little holes to get started, but it started this year and it's filled out and looking great. Also, it is perennial, and it will come back, and if we have a long enough period before a frost comes, it will turn the pretty fall colors. And this is more of the trailing vinca in this little pot, and it's done well even in this small pot. And this is definitely something I would like to repeat too. I love this bluish licorice plant. It has just cascaded and billowed out, and it just looks so good. I'll definitely try to do that again at some point if I keep the garden going. And I know I'm going to try for a little bit longer at least. A rare time when I have some Calibrachoa, which I've shown you on an earlier post, but I'm just so proud of getting to have it this long in the season, and I feel that it's all due to putting it in the right soil, which seems to be the African violet soil. It seems to do well, just like the Rex begonias. They like the same kind of soil, the African violet soil. And I definitely want to come out and get these seeds. I had to get a battery change, but I was saying that I definitely want to keep this seed from this pretty little Copper King coleus also. And of course, this isn't this Dichondra. It's another little plant that has the pretty blue cast and sways in the breeze, and mine did not do well this season at all. One little scraggly piece of it there, but I still like it, but I don't know. We'll see if I'll have any more of those or not. I'm not sure. I definitely am going to cut back. Actually, I'm going to move some of these pots, the pots in the front that I had just on that second tier. I'm going to try to move most or all of those out, and just some of the ones that I won't be using, but some of the other ones, like maybe this one that's looking pretty good, I will probably go ahead and put things in all of these little pots, because oh look, there's a little bit of that pretty color in this little grass here. But I was going to say I'll probably go ahead and use these little pots for some of the stuff that I will need to water every day, because it's underneath the weeping willow tree, which has lost a great portion, but not all of its leaves. So, but it will give me the shade that these plants need, and I will probably go ahead and keep them with some other plants in them besides sedums. And I think I may just take this in right now, because it has a little bit of pink in it. It's not showing up much right now, but I have two little sprigs. One I already have inside, and I may as well take this one inside, even though it's pretty here. Gives it that little bit of trailing, and with everything else that's non-trailing. But it will just die here, and I think I'll take it inside and maybe have it again for next year. And it was so dry that none of my pretty Mission Giants marigolds really filled out. They would get about like this, and then they would just go ahead and dry up. So we'll see what will happen now. Hopefully we'll start to get some rains in November. And hopefully and it won't get so cold either, hopefully, for a while, till these get really pretty, and I can at least get some pretty pictures of them before they're gone. And this is the front side of that little pot that's got the licorice plant in it, and also these pretty yellow petunias. They just looked so good with them. Also, my husband helped me, and I got out and I did all the trimming down the peonies, and he trimmed down the irises for me, and then I gathered them up, and we're going to throw those away. So, but it looks better, so much better, just thinking that you've got it done instead of it needs to be done. Although we did not get all of the iris, so we'll be back out another day or two, hopefully this next week, and get that done. I was hoping that these little Mission Giant marigolds would have a chance to just really shine and open up in their fullness, but they're not going to. They're already beginning to brown, and they kind of got some rot from that wet. But I'm so happy that we're getting some moisture for the plants that'll help them to sleep well and do well sleep well through the winter and do well when spring comes. And so I'm very happy for that. We don't have much left of a fall time now or winter time. It's time for things to go dormant. That I do want to enjoy the things that do remain in the garden, because there's some real beauty in the fall and winter garden too. And I did get one started in this little pot, and I'll definitely want to cover this also for this little sedum that's in here. And I do plan to use much more of the sedum and not have to water as much. That's a plan. I'm trying to figure out how to kind of get the garden to where I don't let it go, but I have it where it's so much easier to take care of. That's my plan for now, subject to change, of course. I'll see, because it is getting hard to do this for me, and I just don't know for sure if I want to keep doing it, but I'm not sure that I don't yet either, so I'm still hanging on. So it looks like we're getting our moisture for the whole year in November, but either way, I'm so grateful to get it. It's like a novelty. Go outside and look at the rain. It's the most soaking rains we've had all year, and now I've got it emptied so that it can fill it up again. This is one of the little plants that I'll want to cover. I may even want to break off some of these panicles and take them inside. I'm not sure. The reason I would do that is because I know that my bottom main little plant is got some rot from last year on it, and I would definitely like to keep this little thornless cactus going in the garden. I clipped off some of my zinnias and I brought them in and pulled the petals apart and put them in envelopes with the color of Profusion Zinnia. They are marked so that I can plant those wherever I choose next spring. And I have tall phlox up against this fence, but it's coming out too far into my path. When this gets big and puts on its blooms, it just covers the path up. So I did go ahead and dig some up, roots and all, and move them to a different place. And I put some of that mud that I was telling you that I scraped up off of the sidewalk or the walkway, and put it where I made holes digging the other up. And this is where I put those tall phlox. I once had this just a little bed of tall phlox, and it looked so great. I actually did give a bunch of it away, and I don't know if I just gave away too much of it and thinned it out too much, or if snails, I think it's possibly the snails were eating them. But irregardless of why, they had pretty much given up here. There was a few scraggly ones left, but I went ahead and put those over here, and hopefully this will fill out and be pretty again. I may actually want to put some over there on that other side too. Haven't quite decided on that yet. So maybe after our chances for another rain are over, I'll try to get out and spray for those at least one more time. So I'm a little bit closer to having the garden ready for winter. Of course, there's still things to do. I'll need to cover several things with plastic. I'll need to mulch a few things that, like my black and blue salvia, that doesn't make it if it's not protected. But I'm also ready to just kind of enjoy the fall flowers and the fall weather for a little bit longer, as long as we have it. Although I did hear geese going over yesterday while I was out here working, so I guess they're warning me that it won't be long before we'll begin to have some winter weather. I picked up some things that had blown over because of the storm, and some things that had not only blown over but needed to be glued back together, and I've got those put back together. We'll see if they will last through the winter, if I'll need to do that all over again in the spring, which certainly sometimes does happen. My catmint, that blooms a pretty blue, and I wanted the blue and the yellow together, but I did go ahead and put it in the ground, hoping that will help it to make it through the winter better. I do have a problem with snails in this area though, so I've got to be careful that they don't get taken away if I can help it. And because the rain came before the frost came, we may have a chance of having some pretty mums. They're certainly pretty right now. I had another little pot, this one right here, that fell off in the winds of our little rainstorm, and so I replaced it. These strings that I use are actually just fishing line. I use the 50-pound fishing line, and I double it. But after a while they do let go. They get brittle and just break. I'm pretty sure these need to be changed too. I don't know if I'll do that this fall, if I'll see if they maybe can last until next spring. And this little one here, I will want to take it either inside or just somewhere where it'll be out of the cold enough to not be cracking and breaking, and I'll be able to continue to use it year after year. Because of course it is the clay pot, and clay just does not do well if left out in the elements in the cold. When it goes from heat to cold, it will crack and break. It's November the 4th, and we are finally getting some rain. We got that little, well, actually we got 1 inch and about 1/4 in September, and then we got absolutely no rain in October, and now we're getting some good soaking rains. This is actually the first time all summer that I remember. It is the first time all summer that we got rain that actually got the ground soft and soaking. It's time for me to dig up my dahlias because the ground will be soft enough I can do it. It was so hard on them this summer. They didn't get big and pretty like they sometimes do. And I did spray for these little bugs. If I'm getting this one on here for you, but as you can see, I need to do it again. And sometimes there's beauty in the late winter or late fall, early winter garden when everything else has totally died, and sometimes the pretty little sedum will just change its color and put on a whole new color show for us. We received the wonderful soaking rains I've been hoping and praying for, and this was covered with mud because of the rains blowing it in and causing some erosion, I'm sure, but I don't think it cost a lot. I think we were very lucky that we didn't get the destructive weather, but just the wonderful rains. But I went ahead and scraped all the mud that I could get off of it, and it looks pretty good, and I think actually we may get a repeat. I don't know how much we'll get this time, but we're supposed to get more rain tomorrow. It's November the 6th, and yesterday I dug my dahlias and a few of my other bulbs to take in for the winter. I picked up several handfuls of these weeping willow limbs that blew off the trees yesterday, and I see that I have several more that I need to pick up today. I do like my willow trees, but they do make a mess when they lose their leaves, and mostly when they lose these limbs everywhere. I did get a lot done yesterday in the garden, but I'm seeing right now one thing that I didn't, which are these little volunteer Russian sage that are coming up here, and I'll want to get those out while the ground is soft and leave just this one. So I'm going to empty this rain gauge now. But not until I get a record of how much wonderful rain we got. 4 3/4 of an inch. That's so wonderful. And this is the most soaking that we've ever had for a good ground soaking rain. You can still like and subscribe to the channel if you would like to. I know I'm not keeping it up like I was before, but I'm going to put some on, I think, just occasionally, just to stay in touch. And I would like to say, Merry Christmas and Happy New Year. I hope your year is wonderful, and I hope you make some resolutions. I know we don't keep them all that long, most usually, but sometimes we try, and I think our tries count. So for as long as it lasts, Happy New Year with your resolutions, and then I hope your whole year is happy and fulfilling.